Hi, Angie. Hi, Roger.
Hi, Sophie.
Okay, welcome to the Python SDK community call. We usually wait 2-3 minutes more to see who else arrives. It's just a drop-in, drop-out session, so you don't have to stay the whole time. You don't have to join on the dot either. So I'll just wait a couple minutes more, and then we will start.
Hey, happy Wednesday.
Yeah, happy Wednesday, Nadine. Yeah, what I also like Wednesday quite a lot. Right, halfway through the week, halfway to the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good week so far. How's everyone doing?
So I don't know if Angie can speak today. She might be listening today. And Raja is new. He's just said hi.
Yes, hi. New at working at this Hiero repository, and I would like to contribute more. And I actually am making so many mistakes, and I want to improve more. And Sophie, you might know.
Yeah, I've been busy looking at some of the pull requests. It sounds like you're close, right? You're getting really close to ticking all the boxes, but yeah, there can be like one thing off here and there.
Yeah, sometimes it gets embarrassing for me. Okay, then I do. In the end, I don't give up and then perform it fully.
Yeah. It takes a little bit of time to get. Um, I opened up an issue to try and help us with that. I don't know if you saw. Um, I'll just share my screen. I don't know, Nadine, how you feel about this, because you created checklist MD and we had just refactored the documentation. But it would be great to teach people how to double check if their pull request actually meets the requirements, because it should tell you. So if you look at some of the issues, I don't know, maybe I don't have an example anymore, but yeah, if you look, for example, at the bottom of this, it will tell you, it needs a review, but it will also tell you if it's passing all these checks. And you
Yeah.
can check if your commits are signed by looking at the commit tab. So here you've got all these verified commits, so that's great. And you can check to see if all the workflows are passing. So these are all the things you can check. And then this is probably one of the most important ones, where you can see what we see when we look at your pull request. So this is showing your changes here on the right, and this is what main currently is right now. So you can look at this and see what we see. And based on this, you can double check, okay, am I actually submitting a pull request that solves the issue and doesn't have any, any things that I didn't want that got thrown in there somehow? Is the change log in the right section and everything? So we have a document, as I described, that explains people how to do. We have like a checklist document. Let me try and find it. Sorry.
Would it be helpful if we have screenshots of this in here? I just thought instead of saying check the tests passing, check your commits. I don't know. Is it Raya or Raja? What do you think?
Yeah, it's Raja, and actually I know that file option, but actually I didn't use this. and then I forgot. I remembered how to use it, and then literally when she posted the new issue, that double checking, I literally smiled. And that was, yes, a new thing to learn.
Yeah, because I guess if you're new to open source, maybe you're not used to the um
Yeah,
GitHub screen showing all the different workflows and everything. So that's new to you. Okay, yeah.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Nadine, I don't know the best way to solve that.
Let me check your PR. But yeah, maybe really just links. Let's see if I can find hyperlinks to the commit section and or like screenshots or anything. But yeah, what I should do is, I said I need to put this pull request checklist as a default to fill out for every single PR review. Or make it even mandatory to fill out. I don't really want to do that because that would be really annoying for everyone to constantly have to click this. But maybe having like as a predefined thing coming up. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we kind of we jumped a little bit in the meeting today. So if it's okay with you, I'll take 2-3 minutes just to introduce the call and everything again. So welcome to the Python SDK community call. We hold this every 2 weeks, and it's at the same time UTC, so it's 2 p.m. every 2 weeks. And anyone is welcome to join. All you need to do is go to the Linux Foundation calendar, and inside that, like sign up, and that will give you like a link, and you will have that. You can always join any of the meetings that you want. In terms of what's happened in the last 2 weeks, we have 2 new releases. Oops, I put wrong one. So find the Python one. Yeah, we have 2 new releases inside here. In the last 2 weeks, we have just released version 0.17, and last week we released 0.16. And this tells you everything that changed based on the commit messages that people had. And we have lots and lots of new contributors. So version 0.16, I think, has around 10 new contributors who are making their first contribution. And version 0.17 has even more. So that's really nice to see. We have, I think, 27 contributors in total, and I think I counted like 15, something like this, new ones. So this is like a massive increase in interest of new contributors. And therefore, a lot of the changes that we have had to submit are mostly like documentation improvements, as we have learned, okay, we need to improve how we explain the workflow, how to submit a pull request. We need to make some things clearer. So we've really been trying to improve the documentation in this new release, and many people have been helping with that. But what we haven't had for 2 weeks is one of these SDK community meetings. So I think one of the key things to talk about is, what are we missing? What can we do better? There's a lot to catch up on in 2 weeks. But yeah, welcome to the Python SDK community call. It's open to anyone. And yeah, you can ask anything relating to community issues. So yeah, I will ask anyone if anyone has anything they want to discuss. We've already discussed the issue about checking your pull request, but is there anything else you want to talk about, any of you?
I was asking if in the last issue I was working on, we had another issue we could raise. It was related to, I guess, let me check again.
Yeah, this is a logger one.
Logger, yes.
Yeah. So this was interesting.
So,
We haven't worked on this one for a while. So when I was looking at this and you added the doc streams, I was just checking if they were matching. Yeah, so what did you find?
so should we raise the issue for this?
Yeah, so the issue is, Nadine, we found, so I think, so basically, I was checking if the doc string was matching the code. And I'm just going to hide this for a second. Basically, this is trying to format a whole bunch of arguments that get passed in.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't actually, oh wait, it does. No, it does. I don't know why. What was this hidden? Okay, I thought that's not an issue then. Then what was the other one?
Were you thinking it's not actually looping over the
Yeah,
argument?
but it does. And then we have another one that's a deprecated method for some reason. So I think we need to remove this one. That looks to me like a valid issue. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. Let me check. Legacy method replaced by warning. Login warning. Yeah, that's just deprecated. That doesn't need a doc string. Can you quickly put that PR into the channel? Sorry, to chat. Okay.
Can you tell me how can I connect you on other social platforms
Yes.
for more? Yeah.
So I try to point to the maintenance document. And then inside here, it will tell you my GitHub ID.
Okay.
So the point of contact is GitHub, sorry, Discord. What am I saying? Discord is the place to get in touch. And also the Discord for the Hiero Python SDK.
Oh.
Let me just stop screen sharing and then I'll show you where that is. Yeah, so definitely contact me on Discord. You can contact me on Discord, or you can contact us in the Hiero section in the Linux Foundation decentralized Discord. I think we added, I can't remember who was the one who added the explanation on how to join the Discord, but we have a new documentation in there somewhere. Or maybe it's still not merged. Yeah, but we should have an explanation on how to join the Discord. That's probably the best way, or you can contact me directly if you need to. But the Discord, the community Discord is really like, I look at that anyway.
So can you share the link for the Discord in the chat section?
Yeah, let me see where we put this anyway. So we did have a documentation. Yeah, I don't know. We updated it. Let me.
Was it merged? I think so. Wait.
Maybe.
Docs.
I really remember working on it, but
I've seen it. I've seen it. It's here. Wait, are you looking for the Discord one?
yeah, the Discord MD.
Yeah, found it. It's in the root of the docs.
Oh,
I posted it in chat.
Okay. So yeah, this
Also,
will explain how to do it.
sorry, I just realized common issues is duplicated. Oops. Common issues is now on the root, and common issues is in SDK developers. It should stay in SDK developers. So that move
didn't work very well. I think
well, it moved us to that it was moved to that folder, but it basically duplicated it. So what we
yeah,
need
we
to
should delete the other one.
Yeah, otherwise it's slightly confusing.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Nice to spot that.
We do need to consolidate the documentation, but there's like a fight as well happening where we need more documentation to solve some of the issues that are coming up. Yeah, I think the recent improvement that you merged was a really good one. Any other documentation or explanations that you need, Raja or Angelina?
Thank you. For now, I don't have any more questions. Yeah, for next time, I prepare some questions, but for now, I'm not logging. Okay.
Okay, so I also had written down that a reminder of how to follow the project. So in the Hiero Ledger section, which is like the everything that the Python SDK is, but we'll also have a Java SDK, a JavaScript thing. It's like the big project that we're working under, the Hiero Ledger. This is something that you can follow, and then that will give you, I think, some notifications and things here and there. So that's good. And then also when you go into the Python SDK, you can watch and you can star it. That's going to just make it easier for you when you open up your GitHub to go back to the project. Sometimes, like, typing this in can be kind of difficult. Trying to find it afterwards can be difficult. So starring it is recommended. I personally wouldn't recommend watching all activity because there's a lot going on, but maybe watching when you are when you're mentioned or something like that could be quite useful. I think if you watch all activity, you will get like every merge information. And do you also get all the comments, Nadine? I don't know.
Which comments do you mean?
If you watch like all activity, will you get all the pull requests and all the
Let's
comments that are added onto that?
I guess I usually yes. So you can do custom if you have all activity, it's just going to be notified for everything, which makes a lot of sense if you're a maintainer. But if you do watch and you don't want to get notifications for every single pipeline run, you can either do ignored or you can just do something custom.
Yeah. Okay. And I wanted to share some data. So we have just in the last week, 30 people contributing, 126 files overall have been changed. So it's super, lots of super amounts of activity going on. Things have really picked up. So Nadine and I are both spending like hours looking at pull requests mostly every day. And we are working like as hard as we can. And we are still not creating enough issues for you guys. Even though we're making like four a day or something, and we're reviewing like as many pull requests as we possibly can. Yesterday we had 12 pull requests, right? We launched 0.17. We're like, aha, we finally caught up. And then we have a whole bunch of other ones, which I guess is partly because of Hacktoberfest. So one of the things that it would be great is like being able to streamline our time so that we can spend our time as efficiently as possible, and then also figuring out how we could get maybe more community members starting their own issues. So I see that Raja, you've been super great to creating issues. And there's Pranay, who has also been creating issues. Has been creating issues. So this is really, really positive to see. This is something that we really need help with. Another thing that you could do, if it would interest you and learn some new skills, is when there is a pull request, you could actually help to check it. So for example, this is a new pull request. And then what you could do is like, okay, did they really verify their commits? And you can look at the same things that we're looking. Has their pull request actually met the issue criteria? So if you're looking to build up the skills of reviewing pull requests, that's something that you could, anyone can comment in this pull request and say, hey, please sign your commits. In this line 50, I think it's incorrect, or you haven't met the requirements. That's something that we could do. You could do. Obviously, Nadine and I, we do this as well. And we have to make sure it meets really strict criteria, but that's something available to you too. So creating issues and doing the pull request, if that interests you.
Amazing what Sophie said. What I would add to that is coming from the Hashgraph team, which does basically build Hedera. How these SDKs are built, as you might have seen, is they are built on protobufs. The protobufs are the single source of truth. So what you can do is check if there's new protobufs, which means we have new transaction types on the network. These are usually coming after a HIP, so a Hedera improvement protocol, which is like the equivalent to an Ethereum proposal, improvement proposal, have been implemented. So we're constantly adding new transactions, and how it usually happens is the HIP gets approved, so it gets implemented. We have it in the protobufs, then people do it in the Java SDK, JavaScript SDK, etc. But we don't have to wait until like the JavaScript SDK or so would have implemented that. So if there anything is new coming up that Hedera can do and that needs to be implemented in the SDKs, that would be a cool issue to raise. Then if you want to check out the other SDKs, check their issues, for example, and then you see what issues have there been raised. Some are really, really dependent, of course, on that SDK. But sometimes you might also see there's something where you're like, oh, that could be also maybe something in the Python SDK, because we kind of want to try to keep these in sync. Same, that's a really good hack if you pick up a transaction and you're not too sure how to implement a transaction. You can check does this transaction already exist in a different SDK, and you can see how they have implemented it and then adapted for Python. So that's really cool if you want to go further and think, how do these SDKs actually work? How do we thinking of adding issues? But of course, like any sort of things that in the everyday development are like gotcha, so you think could be clear. We had a lot of amazing PRs making better documentation. We also can have PRs and have PRs about blog posts, explaining anything about the SDK, or a great video series by Sophie explaining how to get started with the Python SDK. So any sort of contributions are amazing.
Yeah, the blog posts are really useful. They're a little tricky to explain because it's part of it is a different repo inside Hiero, so it can still contribute to Hacktoberfest and things. You just have to make sure to publish it here. So for example, this was a issue created in the Hiero website asking people to create a blog for release 0.17, and then we have instructions there and everything. So that's definitely available. It's just part of the Hiero website. Sometimes I will say in the Python SDK, hey, there's an issue in the Hiero website to post about the Python SDK. But this is basically the place to do. And you can create issues. So if you're more of a writer or you just want to learn how to do the blog posts, you could always say, okay, we need to do a blog post talking about Hacktoberfest, talking about the all the new starters that this helped to bring, and talking about what it meant for the SDK, the things that we learned, the things that we were able to build and improve on. So that's a blog post that could definitely be an issue, I think. Not something that you can create. When you think it's a good first issue like that, what you can do is just create, you could create a new issue, and then at the end, if you label it good first issue candidate, what we will do is the maintainers will then look at it and be like, yeah, this is a great good first issue. They might help you add more content to it if needed, but otherwise they will just label this good first issue and Hacktoberfest. So if you have ideas with issues there, that's definitely something that you could do. Nadine, I was going to ask about the Javas, like the hips and the protos. You said that you could create issues for them. How could users find out about this? So, maybe one approach is to go into the JavaScript, and I think they're saying, hey, we need to include a query for that, but
so hips.hedera shows the current hips coming up, so the changes.
Hi, Pranay. I think we lost Nadine just now, who was talking about hips.hedera. Let me see if I can find it. Oops, hang on, I've got so many things going on here.
Ooh, just kicked
Hi,
me out.
Nadine. Yeah, sorry.
No
We
idea.
lost you when you started to talk about hips.
Yeah, so I hope you can see in the chat the link. So that they're actually really interesting. It's like a complete different rabbit hole to go into. But if you
No, I can't see the link.
Oh, let me do that again. In that case, that also didn't send. It's a complete different rabbit hole to get into, but if you're interested about Hedera and what's currently going on, what we're doing. So they're now called, of course, sorry, Hiero Improvement Proposals, not Hedera anymore. Ignore me. But yeah, I mean it's the same. So you can see there's active proposals. You see some in the final stages, and if you go, for example, in the final stages, you see here the Jumbo Ethereum transaction. So that's going to be a change that will be required to the SDK. That's not yet implemented yet in the protobufs, but it's just really interesting to see like what is going to come up, what are going to be changes to the network, like more transaction types to be added, more features for the user to do. And usually these then need they go before a committee, the committee votes, which you can see here. You can also see when it's going to be released. So you kind of see what's going to come to the network. And then if you go to github.com, protobufs, let me see if they already are in Hiero or not. Maybe they're still GitHub. Sorry, just checking if we already took the protobufs over. They should be, I hope. Ooh, no, interesting. That's still on Hashgraph. If this repo here, which I just shared, the Hashgraph Hedera protobufs, is what all the SDKs are based on. So if we implement something new or that needs a change in the protobufs, that would be in here. And then, of course, anything that changes the protobuf would mean a change in the SDK, in all of the SDKs. But yeah, to kind of, you don't need to every day like scan this repo to see if it changes. Usually we would, of course, raise the issues then if it's something we need to change straight away. But just in general, if people are like interested what is going to happen, what more is going to be added, or also want to comment on it. There's the point about those improvement proposals is they are open. So if we propose to change something on the network, you can actually comment on that GitHub PR and be like, hey, I do not understand that, or why are we doing this, or anything like this. So yeah, that's not just open for us Hashgraph employees.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we created an issue recently for token unpaused transaction, and I noticed that this one was slower to get people commenting to try and get assigned. This is a really good issue actually, because it would be an issue where you create a new functionality to the SDK. So for example, in our Python SDK, we currently can pause tokens. I'll just try and show you, but we can't unpause them. So I think that's kind of important, right? If you ever pause a token, currently you're getting stuck. So tokens. Yeah, you can currently pause tokens. And here you can see the implementation of that. So you'd say, hey, I want to pause this particular token. I'm going to send it to the network and get that paused. And then the network will tell you, yeah, it's paused, it's not paused, but we don't have a way of unpausing the token. So this was an issue that was guiding you as to how you could create your own transaction that would unpause a transaction. And yeah, I had like the rough guide to this, and inside here, I'm linking to the Hiero protobuf. So what Nadine was saying is like, this explains to you what Hiero will need in the token unpause transaction that we create so that it actually works. So it tells you, for example, that, okay, you want to unpause a transaction. What we need you to do is submit just a token ID that you want to unpause. And then it tells you all these different requirements, right? So even though this is the message that you're sending, I want to pause this token, it says, you know, it won't just work. You need to make sure that it exists. You need to ensure that all these other requirements, it has a pause key, all of these kinds of things. So in token pause transaction, where did I go again? Token post transaction. You can see that like we add some checks that align with that kind of knowledge, that kind of logic. If we need to send a message and it needs to have a token, well, please make sure that you're sending a token ID. Yeah, so this was like a good issue, but I did note it was slow to take up. Obviously, it's more difficult than the rest. Manish actually decided to take it up. Manish has worked on lots of different issues for a few months now. I just wanted to learn if anybody saw this and like what they thought of this, and if we could improve the documentation. As Nadine said, we will have to have new transactions added to the SDK as Hiero opens new functionality. So it's really useful for us to get the documentation like just right. And if this is too much of a stretch, then if you could, you know, we have to work together to try and build up the skills to be able to do something like that. So I don't know if anyone had any feedback on this. I'll give you the link to it. Okay, so you've not seen it, you can have a look at it afterwards. Okay, so that's something to think about. How can we create good documentation for new transactions? The SDK, the Python SDK, is a relatively new SDK. It's not completed, so there will be new things that we need to add. So an idea to raise issues is to try and go through the Hiero protobufs as Nadine said, and like find out what services it actually supports, and then have a look to see if we're missing any of them. And as we have noted, we're missing token unpause. So that's something that we will need to add as an issue. I see in the chat that Pranay has said, hey, Sophie and Nadine, request you to wants to check issue 576. A feedback was given about the PR created. So what has to be done as of now? If clarity could be given. Okay, I'm going to go back and try and find issue 576. Pranay, it would be easy for us if you give us the link.
Yeah, I found it. Right, I can post it in the chat, which is here. Let me see.
Missing doc strings to oh, this is the okay. Yeah, we need to discuss this, right? We think we're talking about examples and doc strings.
Yeah. Okay, so I can take this because I basically shut this down. So, and people can disagree with me, that's fine. I personally think doc strings that are very big and very prescriptive have a right to exist in classes, especially base classes that are very important, because there you need really good documentation. Now, what is a example script? An example script is not a base class. It's not an example script is something if I quickly think, oh, I want to know how I can create a token very quickly. Oh, great, there's a script, copy and paste. And I run it, great. It should be small and it should be self-explanatory. If we start adding doc strings in example scripts, no one will be able to use them or read them besides AI. And that's not the point. Because what you want to do with a script is you want to have nice small code that is easily usable and very easily and fast shows you what's going on. So if you look in all the other example scripts that we have, they do have some comments. They do show, you literally can look into everything. So for example, I just open here file update, it says setup client, and it says here initialize and setup client, then create file, create a test file. Then it says file update, it says demonstrates how to query by firstly setting up a client, second creating a test file, third querying the file info, fourth updating the file info, and fifth querying the file info again. And that's it. It's very small, it's easy. I look at the script, I know exactly what it does, and I can run it and I'm happy. If I start making doc strings like I would do in a class in an example script, it's really, really hard to say what's going on because you put arguments in there and returns, and that's just it's clutter, and it makes it really hard to read. That's the reason why I have closed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Nadine, actually, we have discussed also that the justification you gave was almost right. So I think the issue can be closed as the original file is good enough for the description.
Yes, exactly. So yes, I do completely see you. The issue should be closed, yeah. Let me check 576. Sorry, my computer's slow today.
Been coding away.
It's just slow. Yeah. So the issue, the issue was opened by you, which is missing doc strings. Yes, let me close. Oh, I don't have permission to close this issue because I'm not the author of the issue. So
Okay,
yes,
I will close that
no,
point.
I can close it. Wait, I can close it because I'm
Yeah, I saw you
I'm a
close it.
maintainer. Sorry, all done. So that's closed now. But yeah, sorry, I really feel bad every time I need to close a PR. So I really, really value everyone's contributions. It's just example scripts, minimal comments. The big comments, the classes, amazing. There, I think returns, arguments, etc. makes sense.
Yeah, but I think this yeah, I think I really agree with you that the examples, what you want to do basically is you're reading examples because you want to learn like how to create an account and things. And so most of the time you just want to copy this and like maybe change some words in your own, like I'm making an app or something and I need to create an account. So I'm just going to like copy this and change bits so it works for me. But what I will take notice on is like checking the underlying method. So ideally the class of account create transaction, ideally that tells me in lots of detail what all these things do. So I really agree with Nadine, like the examples, because they just refer to the class transactions, what we should do, and we need the examples to be copy paste, what we should do is like explain the classes really well. So I think Pranay, you found some classes that could be better documented. I personally would agree with that. So maybe in the short term, some examples aren't easy to understand because the classes don't have enough documentation. Yep. Any other issues? Yes. Okay. So justification can be agreed completely fine. Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to discuss? What kind of issues would you like to work on? Pranay, Raja, Angelina. Angelina, I know you have like a pending pull request, but are there any issues that we should create like that would interest you more than others? Or are you quite open-minded? Are there any skills that you want to build in certain areas? The testing issues were a great issue category. Yeah. So I think we've worked a lot on the documentation. We've worked a lot on the examples. So what we've recently done in the last 2 releases is basically make sure the examples are just run from all these different functions instead of like one big function at the end. So in general, they're like a lot nicer, and in general, they are, yeah, they're just way easier and there's more documentation. But one of the things that we haven't focused too much on improving are our tests and making sure that they have like a high, like a lot of the functionality is actually tested. Yeah, I don't know if I can. Oh, is this not synced anymore? I don't have to hand how to check like what percentage of the class is actually tested. Can't remember how to do that exactly.
Because there's we would
Yeah,
have
because
to oh, sorry. I think Codacy should do this or any of our pipelines. So let me look into it.
yeah. Oh, is it run with coverage? I don't know.
But yes, I love what you're raising. More tests. Some things are really well tested, and some could definitely do with some more. Like edge cases are a really good one.
Yeah,
And
there's definitely a way to see what percentage your test covers of the class you're trying to test. So you should aim for like, as a rule of thumb, at least 80% coverage, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have some tests that are lower than that. And maybe we could even improve on the 80% coverage. So that will definitely be great issues to do if you want to do testing. Like go through all the tests and find out what coverage they actually have and if any functionality is missing to get tested. That would be super great. Maybe that's a good area to focus on next. Yeah, Nadine, you were saying about codacy?
no, nothing. I just said we should actually see that on the pipelines. But yes, more tests would be a great idea. And if you're not sure if a class is properly tested, or even if it implements everything correctly or so, you can just look at the class and see if it's the same way implemented as, for example, the Java SDK or not. So if you wonder like, did we forget some edge cases? You can go to the integration unit tests there and be like, what are they actually checking? You don't even need to know Java for that because usually the title of the tests is telling you that quite well. and then see, oh, do we have a similar test or not? So that could be a good way to see that too.
Yeah, and relating to the functionality and the issues, we definitely have some classes that are throwing up some issues. So for example, I've got Pylance here set up, and it's trying to tell me, hey, some of this will fail if you don't have an operator ID. Maybe you need to do something like that, and that would basically keep the example running. It will still fail because it doesn't actually have the key, but at least it won't. At least it's always a string and not sometimes none. So there, if you set up Pylance, you will be able to see lots of little things that we need to do. And I like to focus on, oh, this is examples. But yeah, I like to focus on sections. So maybe I will look at just the token modules and checking, okay, we need to add some type annotations. We need to check the string assignment, all of these kinds of things. So yeah, there's lots of things that can be done with that. I don't know why I'm going back to examples. I was trying to go back to the class, but I failed miserably, but that's something to do. Angie says anything more geared towards DevOps would be good. And yeah, Angie, would you be able to explain more about that? Like what kind of issues would interest you? Oh no, Angie left. Angie left. Oh, she's here again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Angie can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I had so many issues with the microphone on my computer just now. Do we have a label for anything related to DevOps work, especially for those looking to do more DevOps related issues? I was wondering if that was a label we could create or something we had that just maybe hasn't been used yet.
Yeah.
We can. Would be mostly regarding to CI/CD in that case, because yeah, like if you wanna add something to the pipeline, another check, another test, or anything in that direction, that would be CI/CD or DevOps. So we could definitely add that label.
Oh, thank you. I thought it would be interesting, especially for those who've done the good first issues and are looking to try to expand their skills beyond a first issue. My other question, with the end of Hacktoberfest, are we still creating good first issues for Hacktoberfest, or has that stopped?
That will definitely be stopping the Hacktoberfest labels. But we should still create, we should still aim to break down issues into like the most simple step-by-step ways in general.
Oh,
I think I'll still create some good first issues, but we might also just start creating some issues that are not as documented. I don't know how people feel about that, if it's a strong, like we need good solid documentation, or it's fine. So I think I labeled some, or I had some that were, yeah, here. For example, a couple of days ago, I started to add some issues. Maybe they're not first issues. And as you can see, I said, hey, we need to create an integration test. Up to you to research about how to do that. Obviously, that's easier, that's faster for us to create, but it does seem to have some uptake, but they are harder. These things are harder.
okay.
I'm not really sure. I think we'll have to do a mix of both. But the good first issues take a really long time to make. So we do need to rely on the community to help us to create them.
Oh,
Yeah, because they are resolved quite fast and they take like loads of time to make. Nadine, do we have also a label for testing? So I think I was just checking.
I think we don't. I think we can. We should start one. I think we should be, can you click on labels? Should be able to see that.
Yeah, I don't really use most of these labels actually. I don't, are these like the default labels?
Yeah, they're the default labels. Well, token transactions we added once, but yeah, I think we could have, of course, new transaction, for example. Yeah, DevOps testing, like bug, of course, is like a very relevant one. So yeah, anything in that area.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like something we can do. I'll put the link there so you can see the labels. Okay, I'm going to check in the chat, see if there's anything left. Pranay, as a beginner, I had some confusions in rebasing and upstream fetching. If some explanation about them, like what they actually do, what they mean, it would be great. Yes. Nadine, do you want to explain that? Or should I share my screen and have a go?
So how should I say that? I can just try to do it very quickly, but I would actually try to, well, what I would do is look into it by having a bit of a Google or maybe asking ChatGPT or looking on YouTube, because it's really actually very interesting what Git actually does. And I think it's way too interesting to just cram it into 5 minutes that we still have. Because what Git basically does is you have your own history, which is amazing. And you can you have one single sort of truth, which is the main branch, and you can branch off, as you have seen, and you can create your own copy of that branch, and you can make as many changes as you want. So you can literally think of it like a tree with different branches. Now, the thing is, as soon as you're happy with these branches, you kind of want to put it back into the tree. Otherwise, you just go off and have your next branches from there. But what we really want to do, of course, is that these changes that you make are coming back to the trunk. So how you're doing this is, of course, with raising a pull request. And then when that's accepted, we literally pull your changes into the branch, and then people can, again, start from there. I think that concept makes a lot of sense. Now, the thing is, if you have your branch, you need to have some way to get the changes in from main while you're working on your fork. So let's think of, I have a copy of history and I'm doing everything that I want, but in that time, Sophie has also done her copy of the history and has made changes. Now Sophie has merged her changes in while I'm still doing my changes on my branch. I kind of need to have a mechanism to get Sophie's changes into my branch, or it's going to be, corrupted if I merge mine back into the single source of truth, which is the main branch, because mine is basically, my branch is out of sync, so it's kind of behind. Now, how we mitigate this is by fetching upstream of the actual original repo. So sometimes in the beginning of development, but also like in the end, before you raise PRs, etc., you can fetch the current history of what is the main repo and the main branch, and make sure that you are nicely in sync. Now, what usually happens if you've been working on a feature for quite a while is that you're so behind. Well, you're of course ahead with your changes, but with everyone else's changes that have been merging, you're behind. So then you're gonna have a merge conflict. And what you then have to do is to rebase. So what that means is your branch has to copy over all the new features in the main branch that has happened since you started development. And only then we can merge your changes in. So you're kind of trying to synchronize your two histories. That is a really very ways too short explanation. So I would really motivate you to go on YouTube. There's a lot of really good videos explaining Git. So what is Git? How does it work? And if you understand all the concepts of Git, then fetching upstream and rebasing will make so much more sense, because the only thing that we are actually doing is trying to have have my branch and everyone else's branch in sync, so we not divert too much. I hope that didn't confuse you even more. Okay, good. Sophie, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so with, like, for example, this token airdrop transaction that I was working on before is really outdated with the new changes that other people have done. So as Nadine said, I've added all this new functionality to claim an airdrop, but I'm behind on a whole bunch of things that have happened in the SDK meanwhile. And so right now this cannot be merged. This will cause, this is impossible to merge because it's not actually aligned with the code that we have today. So this cannot be merged. I need to update everything to be able to do that. So I'll just give you a really, really quick introduction. I'm not going to do the commands on anything, but I will just roughly show you. Wrong screen. So this is like my main, and it's updated with the stuff that happened 1 hour ago. Now, if I go onto my branch for airdrop, the airdrop thing, that was last changed 23 days ago. And the last thing that had happened on main for me was 22 days ago. So there's a whole bunch of things that have happened in the last 22 days from other people that would do that. So if I then try and go on VS Code and pull in all the changes, just change screen and show you. So I think I'm on that branch, just checking. So if I then try and pull in the changes from the main, what I'm going to find is a whole bunch of conflicts, because I've been changing these files, but some other people have changed these files again. And that's where you need to read the rebase and the merge conflicts guide to help you to check and resolve these issues. And there's probably going to be quite a few of them, because it's 22 days of history. Some people would have changed these. So you need to, as Nazine said, watch some YouTube videos on how to handle these merge conflicts and stuff. But that's basically the process. Make sure your main becomes updated regularly. Make sure to rebase regularly to pull in these recent changes, so you don't have to handle 22 days of conflicts all in one go. That's super difficult. Worst case scenario is start fresh, like start from a new updated main, create a new branch, and make your changes to that. If it's like sometimes it can get really, really difficult to solve it. Yeah, that's a quick introduction. So this is about an hour. I've got to get going. If anybody else has any further questions that are really important, put them in the chat, please. Nadine has
So I
left.
was asking if the issue we had seen in the last one, PR that I had made. So should I raise the issue?
The logger issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the second one. I think the first one was invalid. The second issue about deprecating the logger method, I think that was valid.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so good luck, everyone, and thanks so much for coming today. This meeting is in 2 weeks, but next week we have the office hour meeting where you get more hands-on help. And if you think we need more meetings, tell us, but we do have something every week for you, and it's on the Linux Foundation calendar, the same one that you used to join this. You can find the office hour meeting next week on Wednesday at 5 p.m. UTC.
Thank you, Sophie.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
क्या है बे? हैं?
इंग्लिश में बोला है।
शर्म करो
तो
सब
कोई
लोग।
दिक्कत है क्या?
वो आ गए तो आड़ फाड़ लेंगे।
अबे तेरी सबसे टॉप पे दिख रही थी।
क्या
इसी टॉप पे दिख रही थी ना जो वो दिखा रही थी सोफी।
मेरे
हाँ,
दिखा
मुझे
रही
टॉप
थी
पे दिख
ये
रही है।
आपने क्या किया है?
अभी जस्ट मर्ज हुई है ना 30 मिनट्स अगो।
हाँ
दिख रही थी जब वो स्क्रीन
कपड़े
शेयर
का
कर
पहन
रही
रखे हैं तूने।
थी। अबे अभी खाना खाने जाऊंगा, फिर डॉक्टर के पास भी जाना है।
नहीं वो अभी नहीं होगा।
अब क्यों नहीं होगा? टाइम
डॉक्टर से बोलो।
तो आज भी खांसते हुए सोना पड़ेगा।
ये मोटा क्यों नहीं आया मीट में?
पता नहीं भाई, बोल रहे क्यों नहीं आया मीट में। लिंक तो मुझे मैंने भेजी थी।
मुझे आना था।
आ सकता था, तुझे जो भी डाउट थे तू कुछ सुन लेता। स्टार्टिंग से उन्होंने सब कुछ बताया। पता है वो जो डुप्लीकेट वाला इश्यू अभी रेज हुआ है, वो मेरी वजह से ही
हाँ।
रेज हुआ है। एक्चुअली मैंने
अच्छा।
जो पीआर बनाई थी उसमें मैं 2-3 बार मैं रिव्यू नहीं कर रहा था अपने जितने भी चेंजेस कर रहा था। तो उसने बोला बार बार मैं कह रही हूँ रिव्यू कर ले कर ले, और फिर उसने इशू ही रेज कर दिया। हाउ टू रिव्यू योर चेंजेस इन द फाइल्स।
ले भाई।
सही है, मुझे मिल गया, मैंने कर दिया से।
हाँ फिर ऋषभ को मिल गया, मेरी बेइज्जती हुई, ऋषभ को मिल गया। अब एक इशू और मिला है रेज करने को, लॉगर वाला कुछ करके उसी फाइल में जिसमें अभी मैंने एक इशू रेज किया था। क्या नाम था उसका, कस्टमर आईडी आई गेस, जो भी था।
हो गई भाई मेरी, दे चीज दिखाता हूँ तेरे को क्या कर रहे हैं हम इनकी मीट में। हेडेरा वालों की मीट को कब्जा कर रखा है हमने।
सही बात है।
प्रेजेंट कहाँ से
ये
करते हैं? हाँ।
अब नीचे शेयर का ऑप्शन है ना।
दिख रहा है?
यस।
ये देख।
किसी की मीट हट गया।
30, अरे दिखा यार मेरे को वो बैचेस दिखा।
ये
मेरे को भी
टोग
मिल
आ
गया होगा
गई।
आज।
तुम क्लेम करता हूँ, तेरे सामने ही क्लेम कर रहा हूँ। ये
ओ।
साले
सेकंड
शर्म
लेवल
कर ले, 23 होने वाली है, फिर भी और करे जा रहा है।
पे। ये थर्ड कर
क्लेम।
गया।
आइए खुशी।
रुक जा, होम पे जाता हूँ।
मेरा भी एक और आ गया होगा क्योंकि तेरे साथ ही तो मेरी पहली मर्ज हुई थी आई गेस। मैं भी चेक करता हूँ।
डैशबोर्ड कहाँ है वे? इसका डैशबोर्ड कहाँ होता है?
डैश के पास जहाँ बोर्ड दिख जाए वो,
योर
अबे डिनर भी
रिवॉर्ड्स।
करना है यार। ओए, और डिनर भी करना है।
अबे बेकार है डिनर, छोड़।
आज आज क्या है, शाही पनीर ना। ले, कहाँ घूम रहा है तू आजकल। स्टेटस देखा पहली बार तेरा मैंने।
नहीं, एक बार
वो तो
पहले भी
पहली
डाला
बार ही
था।
लगाया मैंने।
अब अभी तक मेरी 0+10 इन रिव्यू है यार, कब तक आएगी दूसरी वाली, देखो नीचे।
ये देख,
1 मिनट,
लेवल
आने दे
1
आने दे।
का।
देखो भाई, आ तो गए।
अब ये बैच लगा दूंगा वहां पे प्रोफाइल में। आ गया तेरा भी?
मेरा अभी आया नहीं है, शायद आ जाएगा, मेरे को टाइम देखने दे, अभी शायद टाइमर चल रहा है। वो एक आ चुका है शायद, एक्सेप्ट हो चुका है। लिंडेलवाल, अबे लिंडेलवाल वाले ना, उसने क्विक शॉट वाला जो था उसने मर्ज ही नहीं किया था, और यहाँ पे टाइमर उसका खत्म हो गया, जबकि मेरे को मिलना चाहिए था बैच बैंक चोद। उस उस गड़मरे ने मर्ज ही नहीं किया।
अच्छा।
पीआर अप्रूव कर दी, मर्ज करना भूल गया। और एक ये 21 आवर का ऐड गूगल डॉक्स्टिंग वाला कस्टम फ्रैक्शन। हाँ ये कल
भाई
तक आ
सोच वो आ
जाएगा।
गया अगर।
हाँ। तो क्या ही होगा ज्यादा से ज्यादा।
की दोनों तो मिले हुए हैं, शिट।
अभी तो ऋषभ भी आएगा, रचित भी आएगा, ट्रकर भी आएगा।
हाँ भाई सब आ
बता
जाएंगे
दे
बाद में।
इशू साले, 23 से तेरी शर्म कर ले यार।
अब मेरी मर्ज हो जाएगी लास्ट वाली अभी जो मैंने डाली है।
भाई 23 है ना, 24 होने दे, मतलब 30 होने दे, सॉरी।
मेरी भी 12 हो जाए।
मेरी
अभी
थोड़ी
तक उसने मर्ज नहीं करी।
60 हो जाए।
60। क्या, क्या, क्या।
जा।
योर
अब
फर्स्ट
देख तू,
अक्टूबर।
अब देख तू बैच कैसे लगाता हूँ मैं दोनों।
और मेल तो आ
आ,
गई है अक्टूबर की। बोलो, अच्छा बैच आ गया, बैंचो आ गया, बैंचो आ गया, बैंचो आ गया, क्लेम कर लूं।
लेवल 1,
ये
लेवल 2 प्रेजेंट कर स्क्रीन।
रुक जा, मैं करता हूँ, जस्ट अभी क्लेम किया है।
ये देख।
ओए तू अपनी पहले शेयर करना बंद कर। हाँ चारों आ
देख तो
गए।
तू पहले।
अबे तूने कैसे शेयर किया ये? आई मीन इस पे ऐड किया रीडमी पे।
अरे ऋषभ को पता है, वो बता देगा।
ओके। ये अपना शेयर करना बंद कर, मैं शेयर करूँ फिर।
अरे मोटे को दिखाइयो एक बार, कहाँ है?
ये बैठा भैंड का मेरा।
ओए प्रोफाइल देख तू।
प्रोफाइल, अरे मैं हेडफोन लगा गया, 1 मिनट में
क्या है भाई?
कह रहा है प्रोफाइल
प्रोफाइल देख,
देख।
प्रोफाइल देख एक बार। देख ले,
नहीं।
देख ले भाई प्लीज यार, ऐसे करेगा तू? तू शेयर करना स्क्रीन।
मैं तू बंद करेगा तब मैं कर पाऊंगा।
अच्छा।
कौन सी, ये वाली करनी है ना? ये है, फिर ये मिल गया है। जस्ट अभी मिला है और ये मेल पे आया था।
अच्छा।
यहाँ
ये ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है।
दिख रहा है। फॉलो
हाँ।
पिन। सही है। कल तक एक और आ जाएगा, मैं दिखाता हूँ, मेरी अभी टाइमर चल रहे हैं। दिख रही है ये स्क्रीन अक्टूबर फेस्ट वाली?
हाँ मेरा कल सुबह तक आएगा। नहीं, कल सुबह नहीं, सॉरी। हाँ है। हाँ नहीं, पता नहीं कब आएंगी 3 बाकी।
मेरी 2 दिन में आने वाली है, बाकी की दो। एक एक कल आ जाएगी 20 घंटे बाद, यानी कि ऐसी कुछ शाम को आ जाएगी। और दो परसों, परसों के बाद ही आएंगी 1 तारीख को। और बाकी 3-4 दिन बाद एक्स्ट्रा लेट आएंगी।
भाई देख मेरी ना आएंगी अब, एक चार, एक दो, हाँ मैक्स 11 घंटे में मेरी 12 घंटे। 12 घंटे क्या होता है मतलब? अच्छा सुबह के
हम्म।
9 बजे मेरी सारी होंगी मेरे पास। सुपर
यार इतनी
कंप्यूटर
है
क्रैश
मेरी, क्या
होगा।
करूं?
तेरे फोन में होगी।
सही कह रहा है। स्पीकर सेम है, सिस्टम।
सिस्टम पागल।
भाई
नहीं यार, इसका
प्रोफाइल देख लो
माइक्रो
यार मेरी कोई, प्रोफाइल लाइक कर
है।
दो मेरी।
लाइक कैसे करते हैं प्रोफाइल, कौन सी वाली?
भाई मन में लाइक कर दे यार तू।
चल रहा है।
ऐसे नहीं करते। ऐसे होता ही नहीं है।
भाई मन में कर दे यार।
मन के लिए मनी चाहिए।
सॉरी भाई, ये वो तो नहीं है, मत कर।
अरे इसने मेरी लिंक भी डिलीट कर दी मुझे भी।
क्या बोल रहा है?
पता है नादिया ने क्या बोला? नादिया क्या नाम था उसका?
अबे नैडीन था
नादिया।
वो।
मेरी सोनी सुहानी। अरे उसका नाम क्या था? नादी ने।
नैडीन।
हाँ
नैडीन
नदी।
हाँ।
हाँ, नादिया।
अबे ये भी आ गया। अबे तुम पागल हो गया, हमने कब्जा कर लिया उनकी उसकी हेडेरा पे।
क्या?
हमने हेडेरा पे कब्जा कर लिया।
हम्म।
भाई अगर तुम्हें ना पता हो, ये वीडियो रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है, मतलब इस मीटिंग का।
है।
है। ओ
मैं
शिट।
चूत।
ओए अब तो आ गया, देख मीटिंग एंड होते ही उनके पास वो रिपोर्ट जाएगी, तो कुछ भी कर ले।
ओए ओए ओए, मैं जा रहा हूँ भाई, बहुत हो गया।
शिट
अबे
भाई
मीटिंग में
गया।
है, मीटिंग एंड करते ही जाएगी उन पे रिपोर्ट। जब तक इसके मीटिंग के 40 मिनट फ्री खत्म नहीं होते।
अच्छा।
भाई मैं लीव कर रहा हूँ, बहुत हो गया।
अरे लीव मत कर, पकड़ा जाएगा। लीव करा तब उनके पास जाएगी 10
हाँ,
मैंने लीव किया।
तो क्या करूँ, ऐसे ही छोड़ दूँ?
ऐसे छोड़ दे यार तू। अबे 31 तारीख तक बस ऐसे ही रहे भाई, वरना तेरी देख वो नेगेटिव जाएगी।
वो चला गया, अबे मेरे को छोड़ के चला गया।
वो एक कर
क्या करूँ मैं?
कर दे लीव, अब क्या करेगा?